This is one of the most common traps project managers fall into. You get handed a project and told, we need to get going right away. Just start and we'll figure it out as we go. So you move fast, even though nothing is clear. And then you're redoing work, constantly clarifying and realizing everyone has a different version of what this project is supposed to be about. Why? In this video, I'm going to show you how to define project scope in project management the right way so you can keep projects on track even when there's pressure to move fast. And you'll want to stay until the end because I'm going to show you how to say no to scope changes without actually saying no. So let's get started. Clear priorities are the foundation for scope definition. When there is pressure to just get going, the first thing you need to do is pause and get clear on your priorities. I've seen this a lot in my consulting career and with the students I teach in my SLAY project management course. So what do you do to get clear from the start on project scope and project management? Well, before you define anything to do with your project scope, you need alignment on what actually matters most. Is the project timeline fixed? Is the project budget fixed? Or is the scope of what you're doing fixed? Do you have any flexibility? What is fixed and what is flexible? If you skip this step, people start making assumptions. Your team moves in one direction, your sponsor might expect something slightly different, and stakeholders may just fill in the gaps on their own. That's when you end up redoing work, resetting expectations, and having conversations where people are saying, wait, I thought that was included. You don't want that. This is why I teach my students to always start with a priority matrix. It's a simple but powerful tool where you look at scope, time, and budget and define what a constraint, what you want to optimize, and what you're willing to be flexible on. So for example, if your scope is your constraint, meaning that your delivering cannot change, then something else has to give. Maybe it's timeline, maybe it's budget, but that decision needs to be made up front, not halfway through the project. And this isn't just a quick conversation. You need to document it and get aligned because this feeds directly into your scope statement. Look, if you watch my other videos, you know everything is a building block when you're working on project planning. The priority matrix is the building block for what comes next. So when you sit down with your sponsor to complete your scope statement, there will be no ambiguity on what the project priorities are. This is one of the key documents for getting everyone on the same page. So really, you're not guessing about anything and you're working from a shared understanding of the project priorities. And before we get further into how to define the project scope properly, if you run projects, make sure you grab my free guide. Yes, free guide on the 10 most common mistakes project managers make and how to avoid them. A lot of what we're talking about here ties directly into those mistakes, especially when it comes to setting up your project properly from the start. I'll put the link in the description below. Use the right structure to define project scope. Now, once you've got your priorities defined and aligned, the next step is to actually define your project scope. And this is where a lot of people either overcomplicate things or keep it too high level. What you want is a cleared, structured way to capture your scope so that anyone reading it understands exactly what this project is all about, what it's delivering, and just as importantly, what it's not. And this is why I always recommend using a project scope statement document to guide the conversation with your sponsor. Now, first, you want to start with your project justification. Why are you even doing this project in the first place? It's an important question. What problems are you solving? Or what opportunities are you trying to capture? Because if this isn't clear, everything else becomes shaky. Then you move to your project scope description. This is where you clearly define what the project is trying to achieve and what you're delivering. And this needs to be specific enough that people aren't interpreting it in a different way. If two people read your scope and walk away with two different understandings, it's not clear enough. So this has to be crystal clear. Next, and this is a big one, you define what's in focus and what's out of focus, what's included in the project and what is explicitly not included. So for example, if you're launching a new internal system, an in focus might be configuring the system, training users, rolling it out to a specific department. Now, out of focus might be ongoing support after launch, future system enhancements, or rolling it out company-wide. This is one of the most important parts of defining project scope in project management because it's where you eliminate assumptions before they become problems. Then you want to clearly outline your deliverables. What are you actually handing over at the end of the project? What are the tangible outcomes? Because your scope might describe the work, but your deliverables define what success looks like. You also need to call out your assumptions. These are the things that, let me tell you, everyone is thinking, but no one is saying out loud. Like having the right resources available, or let's say hitting a certain timeline. If you don't document these, they can come back and cause issues later. And finally, you capture your timing, your expected start and end dates. So there's alignment on what the timeline is supposed to look like from the beginning. So you can understand the thought process of your sponsor and, let's be honest, whether it's realistic. You'll get more detailed on the timeline as your planning progresses, so don't worry about that. Now, the key here is not just filling this out on your own. You're building this with your sponsor and key stakeholders. And just so you know, these are the decision makers, senior executives, and management. And you need them all in alignment before you move forward, because this document becomes your reference point throughout the entire project. It's what you come back to when questions come up, when someone asks for something new, or when you need to validate whether something is actually in scope or not. Use your project kickoff to align everyone on scope. Now, once you've defined your project scope and gotten agreement on it, the next step is making sure everyone understands it. And this is where your project kickoff becomes so important, because having a documented scope is one thing, but having everyone aligned on it, believe you me, is something completely different. Your kickoff is now the next step in bringing the rest of your stakeholders, your project team, into alignment with everything that has been agreed on. This is where you go through everything you documented in the scope statement so they can ask questions, clarify anything that's unclear, and make sure they're all working from the same understanding before the real work begins. It's also where you reinforce the priorities you set at the beginning. If scope is a constraint, remind everyone. If timeline is tight, make that clear, because these decisions are what guides how the project is going to run. And just as importantly, this is where you introduce how changes to scope will be handled. Because let's be realistic, no project stays exactly the same from start to finish. People are going to come up with new ideas, new requests, and changes along the way. So instead of letting that create confusion later, you set the expectation right here at the kickoff. How changes will be evaluated, how decisions will be made, and how you'll protect the scope you've just defined. Because when everyone understands not just what the scope is, but how it will be managed, well, you're setting your project up for a much smoother execution. Protect your project scope with simple change control. No matter how well defined your project scope in project management, change is going to happen. It's natural. People will come to you with new ideas, additional requests, or quick tweaks that really don't seem in their mind's eye a big deal. But here is the reality. Every change has an impact. It affects your timeline, your budget, your resources, or your scope itself. So instead of just saying yes, or trying to accommodate everything on the fly, you need a simple way to manage those requests. And this doesn't have to be complicated. At its core, change control is just about really 3 simple things: documenting the request, understanding the impact, and making a decision. So when someone comes to you and says, hey, can we just add this one thing? Your response isn't yes or no right away. It's let's capture it, let's look at what this means for the project, and then we'll decide. Because sometimes change makes sense, but if it doesn't, something needs to shift. Maybe the timeline extends, maybe the budget increases, or maybe something else comes out of scope. And this is where your earlier work becomes so powerful. Remember what I said about building blocks? You go back to your priorities, you go back to your scope document, and you use those to guide the decision instead of it being personal or reactive. It becomes structured and, more importantly, intentional. And when you've gotten sign off on the scope from your key stakeholders, well, you now have something to stand on. So when an executive comes to you and says, hey, can we just add this? You're not pushing back personally. You're pointing back to what was agreed to. And you can say, yeah, we can absolutely look at that, but here's what we agreed to as part of the scope. If we add this, here's what needs to change. That way, you're not seen as someone who's being difficult, and you're not blocking progress. You're protecting what the project needs to be successful. Defining your project scope in project management isn't just about putting something vague down on paper at the beginning. It's about creating clarity, getting alignment, and then protecting that throughout the life cycle of the project. And when you do all of this, from setting priorities to defining your scope clearly to aligning your team and managing change properly, you will feel like you're actually leading your project instead of constantly reacting to it. And this is exactly why I'm so focused on helping project managers build the right foundation from the beginning. Because when you have the right structure, the right approach, and the right tools in place, everything else becomes easier. That's what I teach inside my Slay project management course. I give you the exact framework and templates you need to build the right foundation for your projects from day one. So if you're looking to feel more confident in how you lead your projects and you want structure in place, I'll leave more information for you in the link below. Watch this next video to learn more about how to use key project management documents. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you found this video helpful, I'd be grateful if you give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next video.